What does DBA mean? DBA stands for Doing Business As. It's also referred to as your business assumed, trade, or fictitious name. A DBA allows you to conduct business under a name other than your own. Your DBA is different from your name as the business owner or your legal registered name. That's because when you form a business, the legal name of the business defaults to the name of the person or entity that owns the business. That is, unless you register your business as a certain legal entity, or if you rename and register your business with a DBA. So let's take an example. Your name, let's say it's Maria Smith, and you are starting your life coaching business as a sole proprietor. Therefore, your business will operate under your own name unless you, Maria Smith, choose to register your DBA name as maybe Maria's Life Coaching Academy. After registering your Maria's Life Coaching Academy DBA, your full name, Maria Smith, it's not legally attached to your business name anymore, even though you are still the one filing taxes and carrying all the liability for the business. Does this make sense? Your business operates under a different name legally and in the eye of the public. So let's see, which businesses do really need a DBA? Not all businesses need that. It depends on a combination of the business's legal entity, the local requirements, and the business owner preference. Sole proprietorships and partnerships are the ones that will be more prone to file for a DBA because you may want your company to operate under a name that's not your own or your business partner's full name. So that's because sole proprietorships and general partnerships are unincorporated and they don't need to file entity formation papers or a business entity name with the state. So you can just have your own name and then you can just do business as a different name, but that new name, the DBA, has to be registered. So even though the owner and the business are one and the same entity, which means that you have the same name too, if you file a DBA, you are still the same entity, but you have two different names. So unless the state or the city or the country requires it, corporations, both S and C, limited partnerships, and LLCs technically don't need to file a DBA. Unlike sole proprietorships and general partnerships, these business types have already registered their entities and the business names with the state. However, any business formed under one of these entities still has the option to register a DBA name if they choose so. If you have an LLC already registered with the state, why would you consider a DBA, you may ask? Well, simply because this will allow you to do business under a name other than the name of your business documents. In truth, the most common case of a corporation or an LLC registering as a DBA name, it's when the business wants an alternate name for a specific line of their business. So let's say you have a parent company, right, that does a whole bunch of different coaching, and then you want to register one or more DBAs for different parts of your businesses. For example, Jessica's health and nutrition coaching business, Happy and Healthy Inc., might want to have a separate name for its upcoming homemade keto food line, and she wants to call it Keto with Jess. This saves an expanding business both the money and the time it takes to launch a whole new business under an additional LLC or initial corporation. Also, keep in mind that if you register a DBA without first forming some type of legal entity, your state will automatically recognize your business as a sole proprietorship. So, how to file this DBA name and the DBA requirements really vary by state, by country, by city, and by business structure. But in general, registering a DBA comes with paperwork and filing fees anywhere from $10 to $100. You'll either go to your county clerk's office to file your paperwork, or you'll do some of the same with your state government. In some states, you might also have to place a fictitious name ad in a local paper for a certain amount of times, which fulfills the public notice requirement for some states, giving the local area an official announcement of your business name. One logistical restriction to note here, your doing business as name cannot have any ending like Inc. or LLC or Corp in it. That gives the impression that your business is a corporation or has some type of corporate status when many times it doesn't. Other than that, there aren't really any restrictions on what you can file for as a DBA name. It's probably best to do a simple business name search within your jurisdiction to make sure no other business name has that DBA though. Now that you know how to file a DBA, let's explore a handful of need-to-know tips about DBAs. First, in order to get a DBA as an LLC or a corporation, you typically need to provide a certificate of good standing. Some states allow you to pay online, while others may require a money order or a cashier's check to be sent by mail. In addition, some states will allow you to file your paperwork online with no problems, while others want to have notarized documents. If you operate under an assumed name that has not been registered yet, you can get hit with a big fine from your state regulatory agency, so be careful with that. In many states, you must renew after a set amount of time, like every 3 years, but be sure to stay on top of your registrations, of when you should renew your DBA, as letting it lapse can have a severe impact of your business from a marketing perspective. Certain states also require you to file a new DBA if the information provided in the original filing has changed, such as a change in officers or a change in address or partners. Note that in some states you can simply file an amendment under those circumstances instead of refiling it altogether. But in most cases, it is not necessary to hire a business attorney to help you file. It's a pretty simple, easy process that most business owners can handle on their own, or you can go to LegalZoom.com and get that done. However, if you are confused about this process or have a more complicated business situation, it's always good to seek professional help. So let's go over some advantages of filing DBAs. First, you should file a DBA if you don't want to operate under your name or under the name which you chose for your business. Besides these scenarios, there are a few crucial reasons why you should consider registering a DBA. First, you make your business banking much easier. We recommend that every business owner opens a business bank account separated from their personal bank accounts. That's because separating your business and your personal finances will protect your personal assets in case of a lawsuit. So, not to say that, it's going to preserve your personal credit scores if your business fails, and it makes your bookkeeping and taxes that much easier, and generally it makes you look more professional in the eyes of your clients and lenders. But if you're operating as a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, you'd run into a roadblock here. If you haven't registered your business with the state, you don't have an employer identification number, and without an employer identification number, you can't open a business bank account. But we will talk about all that in the section 8 of the course. For now, please know that when you file a DBA, you also need to have your employer identification number. You cannot do it without it. It keeps your business legally compliant, because the owners of LLCs or corporations have certain legal protections, such as safeguarding the owner's personal assets if the business is sued. But if you operate your business under a name other than what's on your incorporation documents and didn't file, those legal protections won't hold. So if you're incorporated as, let's say, Healthy and Happy Inc. and sign a contract with a client as Keto with Jess, without registering Keto with Jess as your DBA, then that contract it's not valid. And although a DBA doesn't provide you with legal protections in itself, it does further separate you from your business. In the unlikely scenario that your business is sued, for instance, you could offer up your DBA as evidence that your business and its assets are an entity separate from you and your assets, so that way you protect yourself. Additionally, some clients might require that you have a DBA in order to contract with you, or some business lenders might require that you have one before extending any small business loans to your business. Also, like I said, your name defines your brand. Your brand name is the public's first impression of your business. Ideally, your business name should reflect your products or services and should give people a reason to become your paying customers. If sole proprietor Maria Smith kept her business name just as Maria Smith, who would know what she had to offer until they talked to her? And why would they even feel compelled to talk to her at all? She has a very common name that doesn't say anything special. Choosing the perfect name for your business before you've even opened your doors can be hard though. When your business it's in infancy, who knows where you'll be in 5 years? If you're struggling to come up with an awesome name to file as a DBA, try a business name generator just for a little inspiration. Also, another advantage is that registering a DBA allows businesses to operate multiple firms under one ownership, like I've told you about the umbrella earlier, without having to form a separate business entity each time you expand. If there is any hope that your original venture will want to expand into multiple websites, multiple stores, multiple services, restaurants, or so on, you'll want to register each under a separate DBA name. Note that if your business expands to other states, you'll also need to file a foreign qualification in each of the new states to avoid really harsh penalties. Your business legal name in the states where you qualify will be the name on your company's certificate of authority. But if you want to use a different name, you'll have to register a DBA in that particular state. Also, if you want to launch your own website, you can file a DBA in order to transact business under your company's domain name. It's really very useful in the event your company name is not available as a domain. So you can just come with another name to do your e-commerce. And altogether, a DBA is easier to register even than a regular LLC. If it comes down to filing a doing business as name, it's much easier for a sole proprietorship to just exist and protect itself as much as possible. It's not a difficult filing. You just need to work within your state or country's requirements to go about it the right way. It's usually best to get this all done before you start operating under your intended doing business name. And it's recommended to be done somewhere between 30 and 60 days before you open your business doors. You'd usually hear back with approval in 1 to 4 weeks, depending on your jurisdiction. But once you've been approved for your DBA name, you're all set to start operating your business, meaning you can literally have the first client, take on the new clients, and set up your business bank accounts. After that, make sure you're staying compliant by operating under your business name and check with your state government offices to see if you need any annual renewals. So I hope this was helpful. You can choose a DBA or not. It's really up to you. In other countries other than the United States, just check with your local laws and see if a DBA is even possible. But here, you can really use it to protect yourself and protect your identity, and also brand yourself at a much better level than you would with your personal name, unless you have a very unique name that you really are fond of.